Huzzah. I'm alive and my room's a goddamn mess. I mean, like, how is this any surprise? I went to Michigan Anime, August 1st and 2nd. I was supposed to wear, but I found out as I was putting her on, she was too small. No, not too small, too big. So I gotta fix her Vam braces. Hey, buddy. I don't think anyone has ever seen my guys live. He's not supposed to be in here. Ethelred, you're not supposed to be in here, bro. Sure. He really insisted on coming in here. And he wouldn't take no for an answer. And my hands were full, so I couldn't redirect him out of the door. This is my guy. His name's Ethelred. He's almost 7. Sir? That's why we don't let him in here, because there's twist ties everywhere. Sir? Yeah? Oh, he's going to try to eat more twist ties. Sir? We're going to take you down to Dinnerland, okay? Go see Dad. Go take him dinner. I'll give you dinner, I promise. Oh, I think I've got cat fur like all over my face now. Anytime I handle Ethelred, you just get cat hair all over my face. That's just part of it. Anyway. Okay. So as you can see, everything's a mess. I'm terrible procrastination, and the reason I'm streaming today is literally just to hold myself accountable. Yeah, so that's what that is. Because I don't I want to make more costumes, but guys, I wish I could get this higher. Go a little bit higher, like that. Yeah, then you're losing a lot of camera. I don't know. Anyway, you lose a lot. How about that? It's going to give us some light, so that'll be good. Any doodle. It's hot as button here too, because I have a bungalow house. But anyway, let's get to the topic. I ordered this spandex plug suit from Evangelion. You know, it's Asuka's. It is the design from the original 25th episode anime. Yay. But there's an issue. I don't know if anybody can tell my height from the video here. I'm 5'10", about 176 centimeters tall, something like that. So in order to get proper height on this plug suit, I have to order, gosh, I think it was like an XL, something like that. So unfortunately, a lot of the areas just got a little bit too wide. So I need to come in and just do like pin work here. As you guys can see, I've got this, pins in here. And we're just going to take in the seams. So that's what we're doing. Alrighty. And yeah, so I've only got, I'm going to try not to like kill myself from the mess. I used, this room was clean before the con, I promise. So anyway, what I did was wear this inside out, and then I put it on my leg. Back up. Whew. I put it on my legs and then, pinched it and pinned it. Oh no, don't come out. Don't come out. I pinched it and then worked the pins up. And I'm going to get this closer to the camera. Worked the pins up. And now I think I want to draw. This means nothing if you guys can't see it. I draw a line from between where the pins are, just so when I'm putting it through the feed dog on the machine, I'm doing it more smoothly. Most people probably wouldn't have to do this. I just have really shaky hands. Okay, so I wonder if I can turn you guys over here. I wonder if my it's gonna let me do that. Yeah. With my Miko costume, I still need to add some fun stuff to her. There's my wig that's like halfway completed. Okay, you guys can see my supply drawer a little bit there. Those are labels on my supply drawer, so I know where everything is. Okay. Let me see here. Okay. Yep. Now, where are the color markers? Since they're right here. Are they not in here? Yes. There they are. That's an issue. Sailor's chalk. I have white pencils, but Taylor's chalk will do. Da, 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 da. Okay. There we go. There it goes. Wait, hold on. The rest of the stand needs to compensate for that. Here we go. Whack. Yeah, let's bring her down. Womp womp. It definitely is barely keeping it together. Yeah. It's living on a dream. All right. I'm gonna put this guy over here. He belongs over here. You're gonna clear off a little space for us to work. My dear, you're gonna go over here. Friends, over here. Here. Alrighty. Oh, here we have Lumi's mock bodysuit from Wuthering Waves. You can see I'm handling it with the utmost care. right. We're also going to siphon power from our computer for a hot sec. There we go. Let's bring her up a little bit more. There we go. Boo. Boo, 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 boo. A little bit more down. That's better. And we'll leave them there. Alrighty. Okay. So let's see if we can get this a little closer, I wonder. Let's see, shoes. This box. All right. There we go. All right. So I'm just going to chalk some of this in and see where we go with this. So it's 2026, and I started cosplaying in 1996. My first cosplay costume was Sailor Pluto, and my mom helped me do it. So obviously it looked way better than the first cosplay I made all by myself. That was, it was 1996, and I wore it to, what was it? Gosh, my 7th grade Halloween dance or something. Oh boy, I got so made fun of because nobody knew what it was. Yeah, it was very interesting. But it was a lot of fun to make. When we started doing it, gosh, I think I can't remember which company made the pattern, but either Simplicity or McCall's actually did have a mass-produced man. Oh God, I miss the 90s. I sometimes really miss just not having screens thrown in your face 24/7, and I miss my mental capacity. I realize that my attention span has just bitten the dust over the past decade. I'm actually trying to retrain my attention span again by forcing myself to listen to the whole song before you flip it over on Spotify, small things like that. But anyway, I think it was either Simplicity or McCall's that had actual Sailor Fuku pattern. And gosh, I think you used Lycra for it. And the only major issue was that, here's the thing. Can you guys see that? Here, there you go. Now you can see the blue line. It's barely coming up there, but there it is. We're going to be sewing along that. Probably start with the basting stitch just to make sure. Because, yeah, I'm just looking. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. They just sealed that with a regular stitch. Because usually the reason I'm saying and fussing over that is because usually if you're using like a stretchable fabric like this, you always want to use a like a zigzag stretch stitch, a zigzag stitch, so the fabric can stretch when you're moving in it, because if you use a straight stitch, it'll snap. But yeah, it looks like they just sealed the stitch with a straight stitch. That's all. But anyway, I worked with my mom, and like she had already taught me how to like use the basics of a sewing machine. And that's this guy. That was my mom's old sewing machine, and I still use it. This thing's a 1983 Kenmore 10. It's actually a Janome. So that's why I have no desire to buy a new machine. I am of the belief that I can't get a machine that's better than what I have right now. It does what, 10 stitches? That's all I need. I do have a serger. Like, I have no illusions, no illusions. I'm not gonna like lie and say that's all I want. I do have a serger, and I do have an embroidery machine. So, don't try to say that. But yeah, so my mom like showed me how to size up patterns and stuff, and we worked together. And like I helped her by like drawing the extra seam allowances on the new patterns, and helping her cut out the next patterns and like the fabric, and helping her like do some of the stitches and stuff. She was overbearing on safety sometimes. But I was really, really glad when she let me finally get full reign on the sewing machine. Because I was hand sewing a lot of stuff when I was younger until like a certain age. I cannot remember the particular age I got, full reign. They let me loose on the sewing machine. It was one of my teenage years. I don't even know if it was 1996 at that point. But like I would start to sew all these little projects around the house. I remember I became a really big Visual K fan, and things were made to last, no subscription needed. I would almost say, yeah, that if you want a good machine, get one from the 70s or the 80s. They will last. But no lie, I maintain mine. Don't think you're going to buy something old and then it's just going to last forever. You have to maintain it. Because like I do monthly maintenance on my machine, and I have for decades. Because I've had this thing since I was in college, and I graduated high school in 2002. So I've had this thing for 23 years. So the majority of its life. Yeah, so I'm going to stop it there. I know it stops because the line stops. Okay, we're going to chalk up the second one. Anyway, going back to the story, I had really, maintaining it is half the fun, because you learn the craft of it, really. Because with any good quality, craft that uses a machine, maintaining the machine is, really important. But yeah, I'd gotten really into Visual K at like, when was it, like 97 or 98, something like that. I really gotten into Shazuna and Maris Mizeru. And I had become a big fan of Mana-sama, and I had made this really ridiculous looking, like super deformed or like chibi doll of him. And it was basically just a messed up looking rag doll. And it had like this head, body, and these like just wonk limbs. And I gave it just this really wonk SD anime face, and it was creepy looking. I just wasn't very skilled, but it was wonk looking, and I gave it yarn hair. But like by the time I got to the end of making the whole doll's body and like making all of its hair by like hand, I got really sick of making it. The Gazette. Oh, I never really got into the Gazette. I have a bunch of friends who are into the Gazette, but they never were one of the bands I went to go see live. I was sorry. I'm starting to choke on my own spit. I was a huge Uchi Sentai Noise fan, and I also went to see Metronome, Kuso Kakume. Oh, I went to see a lot of Shiro Nuri. And gosh, what else? 12012, but I only saw them like in like 2004, 2005. Not no Kagura. I really like seeing Kagura, and I saw so many indie bands. There's so many names. Mamono. I really like seeing Mamono. Mamono was fun. I like Chucky would like breathe fire on stage. I used to see Zykes. Um, and Zero when they became Zero DB after like the two brother members left Noise. Oh gosh, I'm trying to think of like the other major bands I followed like when I was like a broke college student. Not really broke, no, because those fucking concerts were cheap. But then like when I started playing with Volume Ace, we played with gosh, mostly Adapter. Krisuke is a trip, man. He's nice. Ryu's a nice. He knew from Metronome. He's a sweetie. He's a sweetie. And then we also played with gosh, who else did we play with? Dizuru. Like they're called. It's spelled Dazzle. They're an indie band. They're not the band you're probably thinking of, and it's pronounced Dizuru. And they were at Tokyo Dark Castle all the time. I played at a bunch. I ended up at backstage at a bunch of Tokyo Dark Castles all the time. I played at all their freaking cyber events with my band. And I was also in that freaking what was it? Shoegaze band Uyu. I toured their first 2 years that they don't talk about on their website. Anyway, but anyway, by the time I finished making the doll, I didn't make the clothes, and I got too tired and lazy to make the clothes. And then my mom thought I made a voodoo doll, and then she teased me about it for the rest of my life, and she still won't stop. The end. And it actually is a little bit annoying. It's a hideous doll, though. But anyway, like I learned my hand skills from like doing little projects like that. I never had a home ec class because like I went to high school in Texas and there's no budget for extracurriculars that aren't band or football. So I was in band. My first con cosplay was actually Gakuto from after he left Marusumizeru. I did his vanilla cosplay, or costume with the black jacket and like the shiny black pants and like the blown out bleached hair. It was a closet cosplay. I did it at the first Ohio Con back in like January of 2001. I bleached my own hair and cut it like that. Oh my God, Texas, did you wear a mum? I wore a mum because of peer pressure, but like they looked pretty. They were pretty extra, man. Those mums were extra. Like I'm a Southerner, but I'm not a Texan. But those mums were extra. Like I did them, but it almost got to a point where I was doing it almost in a way where it's like, how much shit can I put on these things before they just buckle under? For anyone who's not familiar, people who go to high school in Texas, like for homecoming, they wear these live mums like pinned to their homecoming outfits, and then like they put this ribbon attached to the mum, and the mums are like, the mum balloons themselves are like this big. And then it says like high school homecoming. And then you put like two big ribbons on them or whatever. And then you go to like crafting hell and you get the little knickknacks and you glue them all over the ribbon. At the time, I was a very sarcastic teenager, and everything was cringe to me. So I thought it was the dumbest thing ever. Especially because it was mostly the girls who bullied me at school who were into it. So, like, when my mom was kind of like pressuring me to do it, I wasn't exactly thrilled to do it because it was like, I am along with all the chicks who bullied me at school. Yay! So, I felt like I honestly just did it to like satisfy my mom. Yeah, it's cringe. I'm from Alabama and I think it's cringe. I didn't really grow up in Alabama. I grew up in like, but like I was born in Alabama, and but like I was raised like half in Texas, half in Wisconsin. Yeah, but like I spent the majority of my adult life in Tokyo. All right. See, this is why it takes forever for me to make any cosplay because like this is seriously how slow I work. Not even if I'm just talking to people. This is just how slow I am. Welcome to my world. Um, yes, but where was I? Yes. So I went to OhioCon, first one in 2001, and it was a closet cosplay. I was cosplaying as Gokto. Um, and like I mentioned, when you were cosplaying back then, there were no purchase costumes. You couldn't just get a costume. Obviously, you can get like like Spider-Man or Superman or something, but it was always Halloween grade, not even Spirit Halloween grade. We didn't even have that. It was like off the rack at Walmart, nay, Kmart grade. And that's what you had. So if you wanted something to like, I don't know, like really show your fandom, it was up to you to procure and create that. I remember that how did I get the weird PVC everything? I went to one of those, I dare to say it, fast fashion outlets in the local mall, something similar to like Wet Seal, but some random brand name I'd never heard, like ABC Boutique or something. I don't know. It was, gosh, I was living near Cleveland, Ohio at the time, so that's where I was. I think it was in Parma. I don't know. It was trying to remember. Wait, no. Was it Mentor Mall? I think it was the mall in Mentor where I got it. And I found like, yeah, one of those like cheap stores that's aimed towards like girls in high school and junior high school and stuff. And I got like, yeah, this PVC jacket and like PVC pants that looked just like what he wore in the video. So I got them. And like just got a couple accessories that I thought would like match the image of the costume. Obviously, it wasn't an exact match because I couldn't sew that well yet to make it my own jacket. And I had pretty limited time because I think I found out about the con like either in a news. I think I found out about it in a newspaper clipping. A newspaper clipping. It was barely even the 21st century, okay? A newspaper clipping. And then I invited my friend Julie from high school to go with me. I think it was in the lunchroom. I was like, Julie, please come with me. And she did me the biggest favor a friend could do, like in the world of cosplay. Oh my God, she did me the biggest favor. So what she did was cosplay the most boring thing in the world. It was so boring, it didn't even look like a cosplay. It was just somebody's street clothes. But we were so determined to get this specific look down that, in my opinion, she killed the cosplay. Now, was the costume literally just a white t-shirt and some khaki cargo pants? Yes. But did she nail it? Yes, because she also copied the hairstyle and dyed her hair black to copy it. And I don't think people knew that. So I really commend her for like committing to the role, because I think there's like nothing worse than going up on stage like a walk on cosplay and be like, I'm cosplaying somebody, and one, nobody knowing what the genre is, two, nobody knowing the character, three, nobody knowing the reference, and four, you nailed it and it's just street clothes, but you nailed it. Yeah. So she had a heart of gold for doing that for me. I inadvertently caused one of the first instances of tension between what was it, performance and craftsmanship cosplay, though, by total accident. Like I didn't even know, because gosh, I think I was like 16 at the time. Like I was literally a child. And I came up to, and I think like I found out about the con like from the newspaper or something. And then somebody was like, "Oh, do you want to enter the cosplay contest?" And I think they were like signing people up at tables, but like, I don't remember. They may have not. Don't count on me on that one. That is not a reliable memory. I could have signed up like the day before on the website um, or something like very close, where I had not like done my due diligence and read about the craftsmanship rules. So like when I went into the prejudging, they were like, "Oh, hey, what parts of the costume did you make?" And I was like, "Oh, I didn't make anything." And they were like, "Oh, well, we usually, judge costumes that people make, and we judge them on their craftsmanship." And I was like, "Oh, okay. Well, this is totally off the rack, and the only thing like I did was honestly bleach my hair and cut my hair and style my hair to be like this." And they were like, "Okay, well, all right. Like you can, still have your thing." And I was like, "All right." And at the end of that masquerade, like we did our skit and everything, whatever. At the end of the masquerade, like I was 16, I was still a kid, and I had pretty strict parents. Like I had parents with a pretty tight curfew. And my mom calls me at like 10 p.m. and she's like, "You gotta come home." And I was like, "Ah." So we all had to drive home, and I didn't know who the winners of the masquerade were. So the next day I had to wait, or no, I had to like wait for the end of the weekend for Kevin Lillard to upload his con report to a fansview.com. As far as I'm familiar, there is you can still see it on the Wayback Machine on Internet Archive. You can actually still see pretty large chunks of a fansview.com that Kevin Lillard made on the Internet Archive. Someone did a YouTube video on it, and you can see her surfing through it. It's very, very, very interesting. I remember waiting for those JPEGs to come up and waiting multiple minutes, I think, like 20 minutes for one or two JPEGs to come up. Oh my goodness. But when I looked at the winners of the masquerade section and I saw it said Best Novice, I was shocked when I saw myself and my friend's face. And we were just like, "What? Oh, well, apparently we won." Okay. I asked my friend who apparently accepted my award in my place. I never got that award back. He said he was going to mail it to me. He lives in Georgia. I never got it. What, 25 years later, I never got it. Not that that's like a big deal or anything. But that was back when like anime VHSs were $35 at Suncoast for like 2 episodes. All right, so now we've got the 2 lines ready to go. I'm going to put this over here. We're going to get the machine involved. All right, I'm just going to knock stuff over. That's fun. That's fun. We like doing that. It'd help if I plugged it in. All right, where's our power? All right, I see you. Okey-dokey. All right. I am. All right, we're going to bring that up a little bit. Perfect. All right. I'm going to ratchet my tension down a little bit. We are going to bring this to a straight stitch. Bring this down to a baste. Width is fine. Okay. I'm going to run a quick test stitch. Oh, there we go. Which way does this? Here we go. Perfect. All right, are we looking good to baste? I'm gonna get rid of the light here. It's a little, you know what? That doesn't really help the blinding of the sewing machine. You know, all right, well, let's see. What I'm gonna do is actually, no, stretch does not help there. Alrighty. Oh, I need a snippy. Let me get my snippy. Do I have a snippy in here? No, let's get a snippy. Da 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 da. Perfect. Perfect, a snippy. Do, 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 do. All right. Okay. Gives me the shape. It's not giving me a lot of stretch, but it's giving me the shape. That's what I need the base stitch for anyway. Alrighty. Okay. So we are just gonna pull these guys out. And it's okay to go slow on this. No one is going to judge you, especially not me, for going slow. I don't like tearing through expensive fabric. It's not my favorite thing to do. Do a little seal stitch there. Bring the bridge up. But yeah, that was a fun experience at my first Ohio Con. That when I started actually getting my hands on costumes was I got a sweater and then I bought a denim skirt and I started altering the skirt. And it was really minor. I just added slits to it and then made it like a double slitted skirt. And I started prop making. That was the first big endeavor I had, was prop making. And I made a giant pair of wings. It was pretty simple. And it's funny to think of it. It seems like such an obvious thing to be around now, but I don't think people have them anymore, just sitting in their closet so much. Wire hangers, because I think people mostly use plastic now. But I made the wings out of wire coat hangers. I just found a bunch of them in my closet. And I would take 3 strands of them and twist them together into like a thicker wire. And then after that, I traced out a bunch of green felt and sewed it into like a casing to fit over the wing wire. And for feathers, I got a bunch of like boas and dyed. Um, it's actually pretty easy to washing machine dye something. I found that out. And as long as you keep the feathers in a pillowcase, they don't go everywhere. So I found out that was a fun little hack. And so I hot glued the boas all to my wings, and it was actually a lot easier than I thought it was going to be, which was nice. Okay. And remember, when you're stitching, you want to do like a couple little stitches at the front. You're going to hold your reverse, do 2 or 3 back stitches just to seal your stitch, because I totally didn't do that on my other stitch. I'm the worst. And go through. But that's okay, because we're just basting. If you're not familiar with the term, basting is just doing kind of a temporary stitch to test something. That's what we're doing now. And it's usually a 6 on your sewing machine, on your little stitch length knob. I'm doing this like right above a 6 at like a 6.5, just because this is spandex. And I just have an inkling that that'll serve it better. There we go. Just cut these guys. And I like to just cut my flyaways as I go. Saves me issues later. There we go. We're going to get the other leg. Okay. Yeah, so after I made my second costume with just the altered skirt, I added my first wig. Yay! It was literally a Party City wig. I got it in 2002. And like I added a little bit of powder to it and brushed it out, and that was about it. That's all I did. But I feel like it really did add something extra to the costume, because what I was using on it before was green hairspray, and it looked awful. It looked terrible. So the wig was definitely a huge upgrade. Then, right after I made that costume for the exact same con, I also made a prop squirrel tail for my friend for a group cosplay as well, for the wings I was making. I also made a Maris Miseru costume. I made 2 costumes. I made Koji for myself, and I made Yuki for my friend Julie, because she came to OhioCon with me the next year in 2002. So along with our friend Ava, she did Kami. We did Illuminati costumes with the black PVC and like the white makeup and everything. So I did Koji, she did, Yuki, our friend Ava did Kami. It was fun. And yeah, that was in 2002. And now those 2 were the first costumes that I completely made all by myself. So that was in 2002. So that was actually 6 years. It took me 6 years, 6 whole years to completely create a costume on my own. So if you think you're being slow paced after you started cosplaying because it's taking you a long time to create something on your own, don't think you're being slow. It took me 6 years. And the way I did it was really interesting, because I remember back then, I was a senior in high school when I made those. It was like my last semester. PVC vinyl material was very, very difficult to come across for people living in the greater Cleveland metro, I don't know, the Cleveland, Erie, Pennsylvania metro area, I guess. So what I had to do to get the right material was I would go to, once again, the mall in Mentor and go to their Hot Topic, and then I would go to their clearance section and go and find any like large garments made of PVC that were on clearance, and try to find like the largest panels on things like long skirts, maxi dresses, things like that that I thought were best suited to harvest materials from. And that's how I made those Matsumizeru costumes, was garments harvested from the Hot Topic clearance section. I think they were made out of many, many, many Hot Topic clearance skirts. But that's how I made them. And I wanted to make my hair black. And once again, this is before I used wigs. And my mom was really strict, and she didn't want me tying my hair black. Even though I was like 18. And I was still living under the roof. I had blonde hair, so this was kind of a recipe for disaster. But one of my cosplay friends, I also got to talk about this, about your personal cosplay friends back then and their kooky ass advice. Because I got some really dangerous advice back then, and people were pitching like some seriously medically dangerous advice. It was crazy. Like, God, I'm trying to think. The worst, most terrible, most dangerous medical advice floating around in the late 90s, early 2000s that I ever heard was, if you have contacts and you want to color your contacts, because this is before like you could get character contacts easily on the internet. People like, I don't know what they were thinking, but it was insane. They would say you would take contact solution and put food coloring in it. I shit you not, people were telling each other to do this. And put food coloring in it. And then put your contact into a solution and food coloring combination solution, basically. And soak them in there overnight to 24 hours, and then pop them in your eyes. Like, people were telling each other to do that. I don't know how many people were telling each other to do that, but I had friends from Georgia who were telling me to do that. And I was like, that doesn't sound safe. Because I remember, I think I was like in my first year of university when I heard people telling me this, and I was just like, I would be more careful with the two things you see with. I don't know. It was very crazy. All right. So now we want to see how this thing fits. So I'm going to go behind the camera because nobody needs that. Nobody needs to be exposed to that. I never heard of anybody actually following the advice of the contacts, thank God. Like, I'm glad nobody, like, hopefully lost their eyes to it. Because that would be terrible. Ooh! Oh, guys, I think we got a good scene. Oh, I think we're in business. Oh, this is great. Okay. So much better. Oh yeah. So when I first like received this plug suit, yeah, like the the suit was coming out to like here, like no, like probably a good centimeter and a half out. But now it fits like a glove. And yeah, wow. Look at that. Look at that. And here you can see. Ooh, it's pulling. It's pulling. Okay, that is pulling. That's a problem. It's too tight. You guys can see that, yeah. It's pulling a bit, yeah. Well, or is it because I used white thread? It's because I used white thread. I'll just use red thread. And then I can still use it at this width. If I use red thread, matching thread, I can still use it at this width. I know it. Okay, perfect. Now, I think like the rest of this, like I'm not sure because you have to sit in the garment, you know, like you got to sit in it. So I don't want to like over tighten this, but like, do you see what I mean here? Is big. Like it's big. See, it's large and in charge. It's, you know, and I think it's mostly just because I think this plug suit was designed to be unisex. Therefore, it's not specifically contoured for anything. Therefore, we got to carve it out, you know? So, womp womp, you know, but it shouldn't take too long. Anyway, it's been my requisite hour, and I thank everyone very much for joining me. It's like 85 degrees in here. Or what's 85 degrees, like 20 Celsius, something like that. So thank you for joining me. Once again, it's Hoover McGee. Maybe next time I'll have this room cleaned up. And once again, yeah, it's just I'm doing this to keep myself accountable, and so I stop, putting everything off and actually work on my stuff. I'm trying to get this done for OzokuCon actually, which is in Port Huron at the end of August. Last weekend of August, and my cat's scratching on the door. He really wants to be let in, but he is not allowed. Anyway, have a good one, guys. I gotta go like eat dinner and stuff and cool off because it's way too hot in here. Yay. Bye-bye. Where's my mouse?